Maggie Haberman's upcoming book is gonna have some secrets, it turns out. If what's already been revealed before it comes out is any indication, she's got some wild stuff that she's uncovered about Donald Trump. Now, you might be thinking, shouldn't she have revealed this stuff years ago? Yes, you're right. But you don't make a bunch of money that way. That said, here is what she has revealed. Donald Trump apparently often asked oddly personal questions about staffers' sexuality and made homophobic remarks about those he perceived might be gay. That statement appears to be true based on the statements that she has unveiled. It's also a massive understatement. So let's jump into an example. And by the way, I gotta give you at least some sort of trigger warning on what's gonna be discussed here because it's really bizarre, cruel stuff. So according to an excerpt of the book that the Daily Beast was able to get, a week before the second presidential debate back in 2016, Trump's close advisor at the time, Reince Priebus, presented the aspiring political figure with a question on same-sex bathrooms. In playing the role of a female transgender student, Priebus asked Trump whether this hypothetical student could still use the girls' bathroom. Without missing a beat, Trump said he had a question. And I'm not even, first of all, I don't even think you can say this on TV. But what he is effectively asking in literally the most crass, cruel way is, has this person physically transitioned or not? And Trump is surrounded by the people who spend time with Trump, and even they have no idea at first what he's saying or why he'd be saying it. They're weirded out. They're Republicans and they're grossed out by what he is saying. But he didn't just say it, he began making a chopping gesture to, I guess, better articulate his point. An advisor in the room who at this point must know that you avoid at all costs angering Donald Trump or questioning him says, what difference would that make? And Trump shot back saying, what if a girl was in the bathroom and someone came in, lifted up a skirt and a schlong was hanging out? That is what the guy who would soon be the president of the United States said. The guy who called himself one of the greatest allies ever to the LGBTQ community. The guy that didn't talk much openly about the trans community during the 2016 election, during the 2020 election. But I am trying to prepare you now that that has become the main culture war thing for the right. He is going to say some wild things about the trans community in 2024, and everyone needs to be prepared for it. We got more, Caroline, but let's stop for a second on this.
Yeah, I'm sort of torn on this question, and I'm excited to hear the rest of what is said, because while it is heinous and egregious and none of this is about the question is Maggie Haberman in the wrong for waiting this long to release all this information? Morally, ethically, absolutely. And it's very shady that she, and who wants to read another Trump book? So many questions. I'm just bad decision after bad decision. But part of me is wondering about how she sees her job. A lot of these revelations, I think maybe aside from the whole document part of what she had known, a lot of these things are, I'm not entirely sure would have made a difference politically. And that is with the gift of hindsight, knowing what we know about the locker room talk thing.
Yeah, that's true.
It seems like a lot of these things, although heinous, would not necessarily have led to any difference other than deepening the divide on people who like Trump and who didn't. And I think a lot of this conversation is circling around this idea of what we expect from mainstream journalists. People like us at TYT, we have our viewers' backs. We are going to, as soon as we know information, share it and publicize it. I think at these bigger outlets that are dealing with personalities on the left and right in a very personal level, I don't know that it's her job to release every detail about the crude, awful things Trump says in terms of cultural conversation in a way. I don't know if it's her job to warn the country about things like that.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, different journalists are gonna think their job differently. I personally think that if you have something that you think is newsworthy, you shouldn't sit on it for a long time. I'm more in agreement. I found what you said about how likely it was to make any difference. I found that to be more persuasive because I think that you're probably right. I mean, this stuff was horrible, but I don't know, you just throw it into the mix of a million other absolutely unacceptable things that he should say and it didn't get through. So I think that you probably have a point there. It's still, I would argue ethically, first of all, in terms of this, I don't know when she found out these specific things. But yeah, I would like to think, especially when you find out about crimes that were committed or conversations about crimes they proposed committing, that stuff I feel like if there's any ethical obligation, it should be in that area.
Mm-hmm.
In any event, I'm just gonna gloss over some of the other stuff. There is a lot here. Don't buy the book, but you can find out most of it online. Throwing around the F word about gay men. Back in the 80s, he apparently phoned reporters to find out if people he'd met and shook hands with were gay, which he bragged about paying gay executives less. That's fun. Asked to condemn white supremacists like David Duke. He told Chris Christie, a lot of these people vote, which is about as horrendous as I can imagine a thing that a politician would say about literal white supremacists. There's a lot of stuff about not understanding how Congress works, about how he wouldn't use a toilet that Barack Obama had used. There's a lot of insane stuff here. It's just a reminder, nobody watching the show, I'm sure at this point, needs to learn that Trump is the worst. But there's always stuff that we haven't found out. Like, if you found out that one of your friends had said one of these things, you might stop talking to them. But Trump, you can literally fill whole books about it. I agree with you. At some point, I don't want to read any more of them, but the stuff is out there.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.